Thank you very much to Tracy Stoll, Samarito and JB9 for all becoming members of the Kinetic Rugby League channel. If you'd like to become a member, you can do for as little as £1 a month by clicking the join button below this video. Thank you to everyone for their support. Let's get on with the video. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Kinetic Rugby League YouTube channel. Since we are less than 24 hours away from State of Origin Game 1, it's about time I give you my predictions. So this could be a pretty long one, just to warn you guys. So if you don't really care for what I have to say, you just want my prediction, just skip towards the end of the video. But if you want to listen to all my breakdown, because I've taken a lot of notes for this one, and I've gone very in-depth, stick around and listen to what I have to say. But again, if you just want to get rid of the yapping, just skip towards the end. But let's start with the lineups. So starting with the Queensland Maroons, in the backs they have Kalyn Ponga, Xavier Coates, Robert Toya, Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, Valentine Holmes, Cameron Munster and Daly Cherry-Evans. In the forwards they have Moeki Fotuaika, Harry Grant, Tino Fa'asuamaleaui, Ruben Cotter, Jeremiah Nanai and Patrick Carrigan. And on the bench is Tom Dearden, Lindsay Collins, Beau Fermor and Trent Liero. For the New South Wales Blues team list, in the backs they have Dylan Edwards, Brian Toto, Stephen Crichton, Latrell Mitchell, Zach Lomax, Mitchell Moses and Nathan Cleary. In the forwards is Mitch Barnett, Reece Robson, Payne Haas, Liam Martin, Angus Crichton and Isaiah Yeo. On the benches, Connor Watson, Spencer Leniu, Hudson Young and Max King. So the first and most obvious area to cover is Robert Toya versus Latrell Mitchell. There's been a lot of talk about this matchup. A lot of people saying that, Latrell Mitchell in State of Origin is a completely different beast versus a 20-year-old rookie that's played 10 NRL games. It's only going to go one way according to a lot of people. Now, the response off the back of that is that they went head-to-head when the Rabbitohs played the Roosters in round 5. And Latrell's stats weren't particularly great on paper, but what I think a lot of those people forget is that Latrell Mitchell switched to 5/8 during that game. So it's not a great matchup stats-wise to look at. But there are a few other factors to consider with this matchup. Not just for Robert Toya, but for Queensland in general, but focusing a little bit on Robert Toya in this section. First of all, Toya has never played in a game this big. Latrell Mitchell has. Second, Latrell is not the only opponent Toya is coming up against this week. One of them is Brian Toto. He didn't play when the Roosters played the Panthers a few months ago. So that's possibly the best winger in the game that Toya has to come up against. Second is Mitchell Moses, likely to be playing on the left-hand side for Game 1, with Cleary over on the right for the majority. And the run game from Moses on that left edge can be a lot for anyone to deal with, let alone a 20-year-old rookie. And third, and most interestingly, is Angus Crichton. Now, there's only so much you could learn when training with or against a player, but he's never had to tackle him under these circumstances. But just to be clear, this is not to say that Toya couldn't handle all that, but that's what he's coming up against. It's not just him, though. That's the entire right edge defensively. Has to slow down Brian Toto, Latrell Mitchell, Angus Crichton, and Mitchell Moses. You have Toto, who can gain extra post-contact meters out the backfield. Latrell Mitchell is one of the best in the game at finding leverage on players, and he knows how to manipulate people in-game. Then Angus Crichton is one of the most dangerous back rows in the game as well, with his ability to shrug players off and find an offload with multiple men in the tackle. He could really bring Moses into the game even more. And with Mitchell Moses, he's an extremely dangerous runner of the ball, who looks like a handful either off the cuff or in structured play, and he knows how to read defences and break them down. Now, he might not be involved in the kicking game too much, or as much as usual, but if and when he is involved in that, he'll make sure Queensland are returning as far back as possible, moving their forward pack around. They'll be doing a lot of running, but for now, that's New South Wales' biggest strength in my opinion. But moving on to Queensland and their biggest strength, I think it's their versatility. And I think Billy Slater has built a squad that's suited to the game of today, which lends itself to more cards and more changes due to injury, especially in State of Origin. So let's get into that versatility. You have Kalyn Ponga as a fullback or 5/8, Tabuai-Fidow as a fullback, centre or winger, Valentine Holmes, winger or centre, Munster, 5/8 or fullback, Tino, prop or lock, Cotter, second row, lock or prop, Nanai, usually just a second rower, but can play either side. Carrigan, lock or prop. Dearden will probably be the hooker off the bench, but can play 5/8 if needed. And then Fermor, second row or centre. So Queensland have nearly half a team that can adjust to multiple positions whenever needed, which they might really need in Game 1. But let's move on to the forward battle. first. You have Fotuaika and Fasu Malawi versus Barnett and Haas. Personally, I think we're likely to see more dominance from New South Wales in that battle. I think we'll see plenty of offloads from Tino, maybe a line break or two, but those lads for the Blues, they know how to punch holes in defensive lines. Towards the edges, we have Cotter and Nanai versus Martin and Crichton. Again, I have to lean towards New South Wales for this one because of the offload potential from Crichton and the engine of Liam Martin. I think Cotter can match that engine for a good portion of the game, and Nanai's a strong ball runner. Like when defensive lines step up and you've got a guy out the back, Nanai's just on your outside shoulder, he can either make that inside line or the overs line towards the outside. You just pop the ball up. He can fend players off and really break through the line, especially in the red zone. He's going to be dangerous in that position. So again, there are strengths for Queensland, but I feel like the production from New South Wales could just be more effective over 80 minutes. Then we have the locks, Carrigan versus Yo. Again, I think New South Wales have that one. Now, Carrigan has progressed his game over the last few years. I think his level of maturity took a massive step up last season, having to be more of a leader, being more vocal on the pitch. And he's shown for the Broncos this year and for Australia in the Pacific Championships last year that he can have an impact when carrying the ball like he's a prop forward. But compared to Yo, this is a guy who can also carry the ball like a prop forward, and he's extremely calm in high pressure situations and games, and can control the speed of a game if he wants to, and his connections with the New South Wales number 7 will be important too, which I'll also get onto soon as well. Finally, the reinforcements on the bench, which I think is fairly even. Both sides have really impactful, hard-working players that will all do a job. But the difference is that New South Wales are more prop-focused, whereas Queensland appear to have more cover around the forwards rather than just the front row, since they have a prop second rower and lock. But moving on to the back, something we've been hearing in the last few days is around Stephen Crichton, whether he's going to be good to go after pulling out of a training session this week. As of right now, it appears to be 50-50, whether it's going to be Crichton or Graham at right centre, but there are talking points for both. So we'll assume that Crichton's going to be starting as he's currently in the team list, but you never know as we get closer to the game. So with the back lines for each side, starting with Queensland Maroons, they have Coates, Toya, Tabai Fidel and Holmes. That's a solid mix of experience and excitement. And the experience doesn't just come from Valentine Holmes, but Xavier Coates as well. He's played nearly 100 NRL games already. He's got a few international caps under his belt, one for PNG, two for Australia, and he's already played 10 State of Origin games. Then you look at the Hammer and even Toya. These are guys that can create opportunities from nothing. Toya has shown that he can step inside and outside of defenders and make them miss. And we all know Hamaso can outpace 99.9% of the league in any given moment. And he has experience on this stage as a centre as well. If New South Wales have Stephen Crichton, they have one of the most resilient and reliable defenders in the game. And as much as the Hammer would probably outpace him in a straight-up sprint race, the ability that Crichton has to read the game and respond to danger is probably second to none, at least at centre. But if it's Graham at right centre, New South Wales have a really tall and rangy option to defend and attack the high ball for one. He's also a tricky player inside the red zone, especially when he's only like 5 metres out. He can stand defenders up near the touchline and find the try line in tight spaces. Then you have Lomax, who absolutely earned a spot from Origin last year. I was so happy for him to get the call with how well he was playing for the Dragons last season. And this year, he's been in centre for the most part for the Eels, but he's going to be back on the right wing, where his aerial threat will be a major factor in this game. There's still Toto and Latrell Mitchell to cover, but I think I've said more or less what I've needed to earlier on when I spoke about the matchup against Toya. They'll be tough to stop in any part of the field, and they can provide sparks whenever it's needed. But it's time to come on to the spines. Let's start with Queensland. They have Ponga, Munster, Cherry Evans and Grant. In my opinion, they have 3 of the best players in each position. Ponga being the best 1 in the game, Munster being the best 6 in the game, and Grant being the best 9 in the game. This spine feels like it's built for everything to go through DCE to start with. It's his game. He controls the tempo. He decides where they kick. So the last tackle is his domain. But every other tackle before that is for Ponga, Munster and Grant to do whatever they want. Whatever they see on any given tackle, they can do whatever they like. If Grant sees a bit of space behind the ruck, he'll attack it, which could lead to clean breaks or an offload to a support runner if a single stretch defender is trying to get to him. Then you have Munster, who might spot a mismatch for numbers down the left-hand side. Sometimes it might be the short side and he can skip around a defender and either attack the open space or draw more defenders in and play a simple flat pass down the wing. Then you have Ponga, one of the most dangerous ball runners in the history of the game, in my opinion. He can make anyone miss, he can get defensive lines unsettled, and if he's given a chance to run at the middles off the back of offloads, he could be finding line break after line break after line break through the centre of the field, which will cause so much damage. And when Dearden is brought in later into the game, he'll love attacking against tired defenders, whether he does a stint at 9 or at 6. But moving on to New South Wales, they have Edwards, Moses, Cleary and Robson. Each player there, in my opinion, is at least top 3, top 5 at worst in each position, with Cleary as not only the best 7 in the game, but the best player in the game, again, in my opinion. Now, I've already talked about Moses and what he can bring, but you have Edwards, similar to Ponga in that he's so effective in the second phase, and Robson is extremely quick out the ruck. He can also reliably defend through the middle for really long stints as well, if you need him to. Something I think massively plays into New South Wales' favour as well is the ability that both Moses and Cleary have when kicking. And given how long and accurate their kicks can be, the backs for Queensland could start to be thinking a lot about backing off a little bit more, trying to plug the gaps in the corners in case there's a 40-20 attempt, say from Cleary on the second tackle or something. The wingers might be dropping back a little bit earlier, trying to be cautious. Toya and Tabai Fidel could then become exposed, and if New South Wales attempt to spread the ball instead of kick, there's some possibilities towards the edges. But with Nathan Cleary, even in a poor Panther side this year, he has been a clear positive again. Creating tries from nothing, still producing in clutch moments. Now, he's not been as settled with Talangi or Cole as he was with Luai. That's to be expected. I think we all kind of assumed there'd be an adjustment period, but he's now alongside one of the best halfbacks in the game that can relieve Cleary of so much responsibility, and they can both read the game the same way probably. Cleary doesn't have to worry about trying to, let's say, carry Talangi or Cole through a game. Moses doesn't have to worry about trying to, again, let's say, carry Brown through a game. This is a brand new elite combination that I'm pretty sure we've never seen before. Now, an argument can be made that they might struggle to connect. Execution could be off. But on the positive side, the possibilities for Mitchell Moses and Nathan Cleary, especially if you think about what Moses did for New South Wales last year and what Nathan Cleary is capable of, this is extremely exciting. But even if it's not working that effectively, since nearly everything runs through locks these days, Isaiah Yeo will know exactly how to work with Nathan Cleary. He'll know what Nathan likes or wants during a game. Now, the final thing for me, the last thing that I want to talk about, is a certain individual. The wild card, the ace up the sleeve. Now, I love a hidden gem. Whether it be a song that not many people have heard of before, or a band/artist that maybe has a core following but it's not mainstream, or a movie that not many people know about but it means something to you or I, or a rugby league player, someone that gets overlooked, someone that's unsuspecting compared to the elite players, someone that's not talked about that much. The hidden gem of this game. It's not Nathan Cleary or Kalen Ponga, Latrell Mitchell, Cameron Munster, Payne Haas, Isaiah Yeo. But the hidden gem for me, and I may be completely over-exaggerating this, but I do not care. The hidden gem for me is Connor Watson. Number 1, he's a positive teammate. Number 2, over the last few years, he's become a leader. Number 3, he can play 80 minutes in the middle if you need him to. 4, he's versatile. And 5, and probably one of the more important aspects of this list, he's good at what he does. And that's a little bit of everything. Connor Watson is a jack of all trades. If you need him to come on late or even fairly early to replace someone, he's got you covered. Whether it's at hooker to replace Robson, lock to replace Yeo, in the halves to replace Cleary or Moses, this guy is a jack of all trades, and I love him as a player. He will slot into any of those roles. We've been seeing it for the Roosters. If he has to play in that 13 role or switches the 9, if he has to fill in with the halves, he can do that, and he looks so calm but so energetic at the same time. You'll get the power from Max King or Lindsay Collins when they come on. You'll get speed from Dearden or a strong ball runner in Hudson Young. But in my opinion, you need someone that is professional, is effective, can lead by example, and is a rugby player that I think is just built for State of Origin. I love his attitude. I love his work rate. I love everything about him as a rugby league player. Give me Connor Watson to make the difference if and when he's needed. So with everything I've mentioned, if you think it's even, I'm taking Connor Watson to be the difference maker. In just maybe one moment, maybe it takes one moment, and maybe I've just gone way too far into this on one player, but I do love an underdog. I love a hidden gem. I think Connor Watson is that hidden gem. But after all that yapping, to get into a prediction, I'm going to go with the New South Wales Blues to win 1 to 12 points. For a score, I'm going to go with Queensland Maroons 18, New South Wales Blues 25. And for anytime try scorer, I'm going to take Zach Lomax. But ladies and gentlemen, if you have your own prediction, please do let me know in the comment section down below. And if you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like. It does help to get the video out there to more people. Subscribe to the Kinetic Rugby League YouTube channel to stay up to date with more Kinetic Rugby League content. If you'd like to join the Discord, there's an invite link in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel and become a member, you can do for as little as £1 a month by clicking the join button below this video. But that is going to be it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.